Good morning, Paul and Bhargav. Today is Friday, August 11th, and here's the heads-up briefing for today. In Australasia and the Pacific Islands, we covered 6 issues. In North Asia, we covered 7 issues. In Southeast Asia, we covered 22 issues, along with 17 issues in South Asia and the major developments in the EMEA region.
All right, great. Wonderful. Thanks to Bhargav for joining. Appreciate it. Go ahead, Bassel.
Starting off with Australasia and the Pacific Islands, in New Zealand, Transpower issued an advisory yesterday saying that power supply across the country will be tight due to freezing temperature. There is a possibility that power will cut off in the North Island from 7:30 a.m. to 9 a.m. local time.
Okay, wonderful. Let the relevant clients, and you know who they are, that have big interests in Auckland, make sure they know. Okay, thank you.
Sure, Paul. In Papua New Guinea, Minister of State Enterprises William Duma claimed yesterday that PNG Power Limited has reached a critical point where it is in danger of insolvency. Duma stated that the company had not made a single profit since 2016 and that its accumulated losses from 2013 totaled $163 million.
Yeah, look, some more pear-shaped signs of bad governance in PNG. Nothing new there, but yet another concern wrapped up against a long row of concerns on governance in PNG. Thank you.
In China, Hong Kong's National Security Police arrested 10 individuals associated with the 612 Humanitarian Relief Fund. The fund allegedly provided aid to local democracy protesters during the 2019 protests. Among those arrested was a pro-democracy activist called Bobo Yip Pulam. They are being held on suspicion of colluding with foreign forces and inciting riots.
Okay, I'm assuming they didn't mention which foreign forces. Is that correct?
They didn't mention.
Okay, keep an eye on that. Thank you.
Moving over to Southeast Asia, in Thailand, the United Front of Thammasat and Demonstration announced that it will hold demonstrations in Bangkok on August 14. The demonstrators will gather in front of the Central World Skywalk and Ratchaprasong intersection at 5 p.m. local time.
Okay, just note that both Uday and I are scheduled in Bangkok on the 15th. Bhargav and Bassel, make sure that yourselves and Rugger let us know as we see the signs of how that's building up. If necessary, we'll have to get up to Bangkok early and have a look, particularly down at that Ratchaprasong intersection, okay? Just to see the mood, see what levels of potential violence is coming if it does indeed get momentum, all right?
Sure, Paul, that's noted. In the Philippines, authorities are planning to deploy a maritime militia to help protect the West Philippine Sea. General Romeo Browner Jr. said that the planned deployment is part of the transition of the military from internal security operations into territorial defense.
Okay, well, let's hope that that progress continues. Thank you.
Moving over to South Asia, in India, Hindu right-wing organizations, Vishwa Hindu Parishad and Bajrang Dal, will hold a rally in Nuh district, Haryana on August 28. This comes amid the tensions between Muslim and Hindu groups in the region.
All right, so the situation is quite unfortunate. The reality is the incumbent government, led by Mr. Modi, has two faces. The face he shows to the public and to the world is that of an assertive leader who is boisterous and proactive, especially in terms of foreign policy, and he's very tough on crime and security. The other face is that of a morally corrupt government led by a Hindu nationalist party, which emboldens non-state religious groups such as VHP or Vishwa Hindu Parishad and Bajrang Dal, who have absolutely no constitutional or legal mandate to act on some issues which they claim are illegal and some of the minorities are taking advantage of. And in this case, it is pointless to talk about who threw the stone first, which stoked the tensions in the state of Haryana and Uttar Pradesh. The critical point being the primary mandate and responsibility of the government in the center and in the states of Haryana and Uttar Pradesh is to maintain law and order. but that mandate erodes the moment and Hindu nationalist groups such as VHP and Bajrang Dal get involved. It basically shows they are building up vote bank. If they act upon these groups, they're going to lose their vote bank and the mandate at the ground level.
And Bhargav, just to add to that, is it that Modi has no empathy or understanding, or is it purely that he's 100% politically motivated? And really, is he politically motivated or is he financially motivated?
Financial angle doesn't appear to be the primary case because he has the backing of the billionaires, including Mr. Ambani and Mr. Adani. But it is purely the radicalized political element which stokes his fires. And it is also the political motive and dangerously mischievous approach to enable and embolden such groups. And at the end of the day, the actual people who get affected are the minorities and some of the businesses who are in the proximity of these minority communities.
But given those major entrepreneurs are in helping him control the media, at what point does India, forget the West and forget the rest of the world, they're not going to see it until the Indian people see it. Is it possible for the Indian people to vote differently given that he's largely controlled the media?
Yes. So control of the media is not new in India or in most other democracies, which is largely democracies and which follow parliamentarian system. Now, the critical thing about Indian populace and masses and large is about lack of credible opposition and opposition which can hold the government accountable. Unfortunately, the predecessor government was reeking of corruption and multiple scams, and the loss of trust in by the people in the predecessor governments have actually emboldened and strengthened the current regime, and that has further channelized the support at the ground level. So until one such major scandal gets uncovered, it is unlikely that Modi is going to lose that popular support.
But using your same logic, that pro-Hinduism is kind of an unnecessary action on his behalf because he already had the popularity due to their corruption. So my question stands: why do you think he's going down that path? Is it purely he believes in his heart he's doing the right thing?
Yes. So I think it's a combination of both. Okay, the primary factor for the downfall of the predecessor government and the opposition party, the Congress party, is the corruption and the lack of trust. At the same time, to foment and make sure that he strengthens that popular support at the ground level, he needs another element, and that element is the ideology of Hindutva or the Hindu nationalism. So
Okay, thanks.
Sorry.
Thank you, mate.
Moving over to Bangladesh, the BNP, which is the Bangladesh Nationalist Party, has announced the routes for the demonstrations today, which will begin at 2 p.m. local time. The North unit of the BNP will lead the protest from Sovasto Tower in Bada to Abul Hotel in Rampura, while the South unit will lead a rally from Kalalapur Stadium to Malibag Railway Gate in the capital Dhaka.
Thank you, Bassel. Let's keep a close eye on such activities in Bangladesh. Most such protests are expected towards the election next year. It will be interesting to see if leadership among the opposition parties does evolve in the meantime. Right now, it is quite fragmented.
Sure, Bhargav, we'll keep an eye on that. In the EMEA region, in Italy, the Italian government announced a 40% windfall tax on banks' profits. The tax is intended to redistribute these earnings back to the broader economy and government coffers.
Thank you.
In Niger, the Economic Community of West African States has ordered the immediate activation and the deployment of a regional standby force to restore constitutional order in Niger. However, the Nigerian military threatened to kill President Mohamed Bazoum if ECOWAS or any other military forces crossed into the country.
That's an unfortunate development in the region. Let's keep a very close eye on this development and update our relevant clients, please.
Sure, Bhargav. Thank you.